Welcome to the Land Your Bet Sports Betting Show. 8 NBA games here on Friday. I'm going to be running through all of these with you. Got the matchup data and the insights that you need to get your bets down here on Friday. Going to be using the Swishland model projection on landyourbets.com as always, and then running through Props Madness with you as well. And I should let you know, we're going to be going live here on Friday. So for all of those that want to bring their bets, jump in the comments. Let's go over that stuff together. Really looking forward to the third show of the year right now. So 5:30 p.m. Eastern on Friday. Hope to see y'all there. But if that all sounds good, give this video a like. Let's go ahead and get right into it. As always, going to be using Props Madness here on the show, #1 sports betting research tool for the NBA for all things matchups and otherwise, right? Recent line numbers, able to shop odds here as well. Really solid platform for all of the NBA research you need to do. Use code LYB if you want to sign up for this platform. Get to 25% off your first month. Also gets you 7 free days to trial it out if you're interested here. So let's use Props Madness. Also going to jump into the NBA projections that we have here on the Swishland model to sort of back us, right? To sort of make sure that we've got a nice anchor for the numbers that we're looking at here in the market. But let's go ahead and start with Props Madness and get into that first game, which is the Hawks and the Pacers here. A couple things we need to run through. As we know, Trae Young is out in this game. He left their last game early with the injury there, and we're going to talk about here who is going to back him up and come in as a result. And then Indy as well. They're going to have Obi, Nembhard, Mathurin, McConnell. All those guys are out here for the Pacers. Not looking good in Indy. As we know, they're pretty much tossing this season aside. Pascal, somebody you could definitely continue to target. 40.5 PRA is getting crazy, right? Like this dude isn't Giannis. This is a wildly high number. If we look at what the model likes for Siakam in this matchup, Atlanta, not good on defense. This minutes projection is going to be a little bit high just because they've had the 2 double overtime games and whatnot. So that is a bit high. And the 26 points, 5 assists, 9 boards, that's all where his stuff is at this point, right? The rebounds even are at 8.5. Never been up at 8.5 for Pascal Siakam throughout his whole career. The assists have certainly never been 5.5. And the points have rarely, if ever, been 26.5 for this dude. So he's looking good so far this season. He's played some tough defenses and done well. And the Thunder, the Timberwolves, and even the Mavs are not a bad defense. And now he gets the Hawks, right? So all this stuff is way high. I can't really back a bet here for Pascal. I think the important thing is to look at the fact that we're going to be playing without Trae on the other side, and you target Hawks guys instead. If you look at Jalen Johnson, let's just take a quick look at what he did last season without Trae Young. We filter this to the last season stats without Trae, just 2 games. So not a big sample size here. 16 shots and then just 12 shots against Memphis. Lost one of those games. Anyway, the points and the shots have not been there. The assists have crazy been there, right? 19 potential assists against Boston last year without Trae in November. And then a month later in December, 14 potential assists against Memphis on 8. The impressive thing here is the Boston game. 19 potential assists against one of the best assist limiting defenses last year in the Boston Celtics. That's going to stand out to you. The boards are there too. Not that I think the boards have much to do with whether or not you had a Trae Young available. If you look at the boards being good for the games without Trae, it's because he also was without DeAndre Hunter, Mo Gay, and as well as Okongwu, Mo Gay. Those are the guys that are the reason he got the boards, but the assists are sexy at 4.5. I'll say that. Even 6+. I think that's a good look here against this Pacers squad, who, again, not terrible on defense because they still do have Nesmith, but they no longer have Nembhard guarding the best player on the other team. I don't trust the defense for the Pacers at all. And then the other guy is Dyson Daniels. You look at him last year without Trae Young. We still have this filter up right now. What is this, 21.5 points per game in these games, right? 1 against the Celtics, and everybody else is pretty much playing except for the bigs, right? So he's getting a lot of points here without Trae. And I think the shots are going to go up for him. He's had a terrible start to the season scoring-wise and really overall in general. Had the injury, has had foul trouble mostly more than anything. And that's a big reason why he's not getting too much, but hasn't been a big part of the offense and has shot poorly when he even took a good amount of shots, right? So Dyson Daniels, I think it's a get-right game, and 10.5 points without Trae Young. This is a buy low spot for Dyson. And the last guy here who doesn't have any lines yet is Luke Kennard. I would consider that Luke Kennard's always been a guy where if your key ball handler is out, you can trust this guy to come in, help run your offense and settle things down. And also is one of the better 3-point shooters in the league, field goal percentage wise, especially last year. I think he led the league in 3-point percentage. So I think points, maybe assists, if we get them at like 2.5, it's just wrong, right? 3.5 might even be beatable. And then points for him, I think that's huge, right? And the key here is against Brooklyn, he played 28 minutes. 25 of those minutes came when Trae Young was out, right? And he played 25 of a possible 36 minutes after Trey went down. So that tells you something as well, right? That they needed him because they only beat the Nets by 5. As you know that Quinn Snyder trusts Luke Kennard at this point to bring him on, especially if they have this game close at the end, which it probably will be because you have no Trey Young against the struggling Pacers. Then I think Luke Kennard's probably going to be in here for about 25 minutes. And if we look at all these guys real quick, we can pull up Atlanta and just look at what it says for them on the model. And the beautiful part here about the model is that it has Trey Young out. So it sort of adjusts everybody else's minutes accordingly, which is wonderful. We still have Dyson and Jalen Johnson here up at 29 or so. You can see these props are a little bit, I think the minutes for these guys are a little bit depressed at 29 because so far this season, right, they haven't played that many minutes. They've been in a couple big losses for the Hawks as well as just some games where I believe Dyson Daniels had to leave with a little bit of injury. So yeah, I think the model is depressing their stuff a little bit too much, and you should probably add 3 to 4 to 5 minutes to these three, especially here. And even Okongwu, who's probably going to play in the low 30s, high 20s once again, as he's started to take a few more minutes away from Kristaps, another guy to potentially look at. But I definitely like those three I mentioned here for the Hawks. Kennard on the points and the assists. I like the other play here for Jalen Johnson on the assists, probably the points as well. PA, maybe all of it, to be honest. I'm not scared of it. I love Jalen Johnson in this game. And then also Dyson, I think it's a nice buy low spot on the points because he hasn't even touched 10 yet. So we're keeping this at 10.5, where last year when he played without Trey, you'd see this number at like 14.5 points. Moving down the line here, let's get into this Boston and Philly game here. And let me go down to Boston to start, and then I'll move up to Philly. This really stood out to me. The PRA for Derek White is up at 29.5. Has only touched that, right, once this season. That was against Philly, who they're playing. I know that. But that was also a game where he scored the 25 points. I believe he shot lights out in the first half, especially, right? 7 for 7 from the free throw line, took 20 shots. Hasn't hit the 20-shot mark since then. Actually, against the Cavs, he hit 20 as well, but terrible field goal percentages and awful from the three-point line. So I just want to point out that I think we might be getting a little bit of value on his threes just because he's taking, what are his 3-point attempts at? Right here, 11 per game right now. 4 for 11 is not that crazy for our guy. He's just had a really terrible start to the season, shooting-wise. Anyway, from three, right? Like the 3-point percentages have been 25, 11, 27, 27, and 31. So he's sub 30% from deep right now. That's got to regress at progress, right? But regress back to the average and start to sort of go back to the number that we expect from him, which is like mid to high 30s, if anything, and even at times low 40s in games. So I think that we're going to start to see that for him. And with the amount of attempts that he's taking from three, this might not be a bad look from three. If you can get this minus 106, but if this starts to get to like minus 120, minus 130, that's when you lose me on the Derek White threes. The other guy for this squad right now, the only other one that I might trust for a bet, Peyton Pritchard, couldn't hit the water in the ocean, or whatever the saying is. It's just bad. He cannot make a shot right now. Anthony Simons is not playing with the closing lineups. He's not trusted at all. Both those guys burned me and hooked me last game, so we're going to stay away from them. But I think Neemias Queta has finally found his footing as that starting center. 26 minutes against Cleveland last game, 22 the game before, and he's basically at anywhere from 22 to 26 minutes. And the real important thing here is the rebound chances are at 18.8 on the season through 5 games. I don't think that's going anywhere. Like, there's no one else rebounding for this squad. Jason Tatum was basically their best rebounder on the team last season. Obviously, he's not playing. So I think Queta is going to be the guy that keeps getting those 24 and 25 rebound chances in the last 2 games. And Embiid, we got to wait to see if he's going to play the more than 20 minutes because he's been capped at 20 minutes for all 3 of these. But I go right to him after Queta because I'm not even worried about Embiid. In fact, I would prefer Embiid to be out there, and that'll lead to more Neemias Queta rebounds because he's not trying. He hasn't been able to rebound and get his legs under him even since the World Cup games, right? Or whatever you call it, Olympic games in basketball here for the U.S. Couldn't get rebounds in those. The rebounds for him are terrible, and I love fading the rebounds for Joel. And I do like this sort of as a correlation for why Neemias Queta is going to get his rebounds, because the guy he's guarding isn't a good rebounder right now, and Joel's not even going for the boards on offensive or the offensive boards. He's shooting a bunch of threes. His rebound chances in this season so far, 9 per game. Had 10 against Washington, got a few extra minutes than the 20 he's been capped at because they went to OT, so they gave him a few minutes in OT. But he's had 7, 10, and 10 rebound chances. I don't like him to get 7 rebounds on 10 rebound chances, and I don't think he's getting more than that amount of minutes moving forward. So we'll wait to see to bet on the under on Joel on the boards until we see that tweet come out that, yeah, he's for sure not going to play more than 20 minutes. All right, then we can go to that for him and look at the under. And while we're talking about rebounds, Kelly O, man, this dude just keeps doing what he does since last season, points, rebounds, and this is a lot to do with the fact that he's their maybe best rebounder other than Drummond Drummond and Bona, outside the centers, he comes in and does a great job cleaning up the boards with Embiid off the floor, right? And so the game here against the Magic, no Embiid, 17 rebound chances against the Magic on 10 boards. And then with Embiid, but 21 rebound chances, because again, Embiid only played 23 minutes in the game that Kelly Oubre played 44 minutes. We're going to keep liking that for him. Like, the rebound chances tell you that this is not a fluke for him. Even in the game where he played 34 minutes against Boston with Joel out there, we saw 10 rebound chances for him, 4 boards, but I think that's going to go up to like 12, 13, 14 boards, rebound chances again, and that's going to be good for us. And I'm pulling up the model here because I want to sort of back it and see what it says about Joel. It has Joel at 17 minutes. That's just because of the fact that he's been anchored to that sort of 17, 20-minute mark, so it's going off of that right now. But Kelly Oubre at 34 minutes, that's good enough for me. We got him at 17 points, 8.5 boards. And I agree with that. And that is what it, like, we've got his minutes at a reasonable number here. If Joel plays 25, 26 minutes even, this is still a really reasonable projection for Kelly Oubre at 34 minutes. And even in 34 minutes, the model is still like, matchup and everything considered, I really like these 3 stats here, 17 points and 8.5 rebounds, especially for Kelly Oubre. So going to be looking for Tsunami Poppy, as his nickname is, to do well in the PR tomorrow against Boston. Next game, we've got Toronto in Cleveland here. Donovan Mitchell questionable once again. Was questionable before the Celtics game. What a weird game. Came out and played, scored 15 in the first half, and then didn't score in the second half, but still played a bunch. Had a whole ton of potential assists, but let's just wait to see what happens with him. I think either way, I'm going back to DeAndre Hunter. And I put this out in the VIP the other day, and it burned us for sure. But I took him over 2.5 assists in this matchup with Boston. Before Donovan Mitchell was ruled out, I thought Donovan Mitchell was going to be ruled out. He was ruled in. It really didn't matter. He still had 8 potential assists, and you expect guys to get 50 to 55% of their potential assists to realized into assists, right? To actually turn into real assists. This is running cold, right? 2 assists on 8 potentials is brutal. And so it's just brutal shooting. The Cavs shot 40% from the field. They shot 32% from 3. They missed 35 3-pointers in that game with the Celtics. Just awful, man. And so, of course, guys weren't getting dimes other than Lonzo, who ended with 6. Everybody else was just, you can't get assists if no one can make a shot. And I would imagine against the Raptors, not that good of a defense, right? I think the defensive rating is outside the top 10 right now, 29th. It's outside this top everything. Second worst defensive rating in the league for Toronto, playing at a nice pace as well. I believe it's in the top 10. Looking at pace real quick. Yeah, they're 7th in pace right now. So his team playing really fast. It's 6th in pace, excuse me. A team playing really fast, but not playing good defense. I'm going back to the dimes because we're getting 2.5 for plus 140. You can get 4 plus for like 3.5 to 1. You can get 5 plus for 9 to 1 on DeAndre Hunter. And look at the potentials for this dude, man. Like, it's unfair. He's had 9, and 8 potential assists through 3 games, right? Averaging 8.5. You'd expect him to be averaging 4 to 5 assists per game, and he's still only averaging 3. That tells me that there's going to continue to be some positive regression where he comes back to getting more assists now because the potentials are so high. When you see high volume like that, you got to like the overall assists to start rising up as well. And I just want to show you DeAndre Hunter real quick on the model as well. Let me take off the Philly thing here. So we got the filter just to show us the Hunters, and DeAndre Hunter, 33.5 minutes, 20 points, and 5 boards, 3 assists. And that 3 assists is all I need to know that it's like, yeah, that's reasonable, that he should be getting 3 dimes for plus 140 in this matchup, right? The potential assists are there. So, and the touches are there as well. He's 3rd on the team in front court touches. So once they get into the offensive end of the floor, this is the dude touching the ball just as much as anybody except for Donovan Mitchell, basically. Knicks and Bulls, no lines up for this game here, but I am going to go ahead and look at Jalen Brunson in this one. And it's actually both guards, Jalen Brunson and Deuce McBride. Specifically for Deuce, I do like the points. I think we might get a good number on the assists. You can see here, even though we have no lines yet for Deuce, Props Madness has done a great job of showing us what was the line at close of the last game. And against the Celtics, he had a 2.5 assist line. That was what it was. If we get 2.5 again against the Bulls, who give up assists, as we know, 6th most to point guards in the league right now. I like this for him. Same for Jalen Brunson. I think we might get a good number for Brunson's assists. Got to consider the points as well. This was 25.5 last game against the Bucks. It closed at, I think, 25, maybe it was even 27.5 at times before close. I think another 30 piece. I mean, it's the Bulls, man. Look at what he did against the Bulls last year. The defense is a little bit better, but it's mostly last year the assists that I'm looking at. 8 on 14, 8 on 12, and 12 on 21 potential assists, right? And I think that's what we go back to against Chicago, who is that defense that just bloodlets assists, essentially. So I like that look here for Jalen Brunson. Not sure quite what to do with this Chicago Bulls lineup right now. Io was obviously really disappointing last game in his one where we took him to get 12.5 against an awful Kings team. He didn't come through. It was more of a giddy game with a few other guys. So I'm not sure what to do with the Bulls right now. There's a lot of guys doing a lot of the same stuff. So I'm going to stay away from anything but with them. But I like the guards. Like I said, Miles McBride off the bench because he's coming back. Missed last game, not because he was hurt, just from a personal thing. So he's going to be back in this one and fully healthy. Like him and Jalen Brunson, both probably on the assists and definitely on the points for JB if we want to take another 30+ points for him. In this game here against the Lakers and the Grizzlies, don't have that much for you. I don't know what to do with Memphis right now, and Luka is questionable. So until we get Luka news, you can't do anything with the Lakers. Like, this is the son of this universe in a way that everything revolves around him, and you cannot possibly know what's going to happen to anybody aside on the Lakers if Luka is questionable and we don't know if he's playing. So let's get to Nuggets and Blazers in Portland. I want to start with Denver because this all looks so high, man. So Jamal Murray is questionable, right? But Portland's good at defense. Portland's defensive rating right now is 6th in the league. They're good. They're good up top. If you look at their shot zones, they're second best above the break. They're good down low because Donovan Clingan is down there. So they have the 6th best defensive rim percentage. They're limiting all that stuff. Right. They're really good limiting the spot up stuff. Yeah, they stay to the shooters, right? Which is why they're not as good against the pick and roll ball handler, but they are good against spot up shooters. I don't understand why Jokic has a 26.5 point prop. I don't understand why Cam Johnson is at the number he's at, 19.5 PRA. Like, this has to be because the books think Jamal Murray's not playing. I don't know why you would have props way above these guys' season averages at this point in the season if you think Jamal Murray is playing, right? So I think they think he's out, essentially, is what I'm saying. It says game time decision. Sounds like somebody might have news that he's not playing because you do bump up Nikola Jokic's points. You do bump up Cam Johnson's points and his assists and his rebounds for whatever, like 2.5 assists for a dude that hasn't gotten 3. They're baiting us into that. So it makes me think, like I said, that we're not going to see Jamal Murray in this game. If we look at the model here and pull up the Denver players who we do think are going to be playing. So if Jamal Murray plays, like him for 35 minutes, still under his prop line, because this Denver defense is good. This is crazy to me that these guys' numbers are so high. This Portland defense is good. So it's crazy that these Denver player numbers are so high against Portland. That seems disrespectful. So I think I'm going to be looking at some unders here, honestly. Like the points for Jokic at 26.5. He took 23 shots against Golden State in the first game of the season to try to carry them to victory alongside Aaron Gordon. And then other than that, he took 8 in a 22-point win against Phoenix. He took 10 against Minnesota, right, who they beat by 13, but it was close for a good amount of the game. Wiped the floor with the Pellies, and that's why the prop line is high, because it's like everyone's thinking, well, he hasn't really been tested yet. He got blown. They blew everybody out. That's why he doesn't have that many shot attempts. But this is still high against a good defensive team. So I'm going to look to potentially fade the points for Jokic. Got to see about the Murray news. I wouldn't do this without Jamal Murray. But I think Cam Johnson, Murray or no Murray, 19.5 PRA. He's just not doing that much. I'm going to be looking for an under for him. This is a game I think we might have some overs in as well, right? Jazz and Suns. We know what happened in this last game with them, where the Suns, a lot of people, everybody kind of went over in this game against the Jazz and Suns, right? Like Devin Booker had 34 points and went to OT. That was a big part of it. Booker actually started taking threes in this game. He took 12 attempts in this game. The previous 3 games he did not equal 12. He had exactly 12. So he took the same amount of attempts in that game against the Jazz that he had previously taken the whole season. And then that set him off against the Grizz again. So 2.5 is kind of low. It's juiced big time. But the threes for Devin Booker, I mean, look at last season against the Jazz. Look how many threes he was taking. He took 11 threes a game against the Jazz in their 4 matchups. That's 4 more than his season average. He was averaging 7 3-point attempts on the season. All of a sudden, he plays the Utah Jazz. He's taking 11 threes a game. So 2.5, maybe a little ladder to 4. This is what he does against Utah. Did it again this season, 5 for 12. 12 threes. If he takes 10, I love 3. If he takes 10, I'm going to take the 4+, like I said, against an awful Jazz 3-point defense. So love that look for Book. And then on the other side, I think we got to go to this Kessler assist, man. Like, I'm a little bit weary of telling you guys about this because I think this is going to be something that people start hitting too much. The videos are doing well, so there's a lot of people seeing this at this point. But like, and I'm grateful, man, and I don't want to hide anything from y'all. So I'm giving you the Walker Kessler look that I like as well. But look, I mean, look at the potentials for the center, right? 6 potential assists per game. And we're getting plus 146 for him to get 3. You expect him to get 3 assists on 6 potentials. And this was a point of emphasis coming into the season for the Jazz, was that Walker Kessler, they wanted to weaponize him as someone who could facilitate and get guys cutting to the basket off of him. And part of the reason he's able to do that is because he started scoring. So you actually have to guard him, in which case now it's going to open up lanes for guys to cut to the rim. And that's where he's finding people on the dimes because he's doing so well with the points. But I love him to dominate again. I mean, Mark Williams is going to play in this game, but he's still going to he's better than Mark Williams. Let me just put it that way. Bigger than Mark Williams. Yeah, so I think this is going to be another opportunity. The points I'm fine with, but the assists I really like. Probably do a little bit of both, maybe like a 15 and 3 kind of thing or something to that effect for Walker Kessler. But I think you add the assist to whatever it is that he's going to be doing here tonight, including getting some points. All right, y'all, don't forget, we are coming back with the live 5:30 p.m. Eastern here on Friday, so hope to see you guys in there. Bring your bets, jump in the comments. We'll go over all that stuff together. And until I see you next, happy betting.